right, everybody. Well, welcome to another episode of Ask the Expert. I'm really excited today to have a dear friend of mine who I've known for a couple of years, Giusi Mastro, who is going to talk about interior design. Giusi has a background in architecture and design, and I thought today would be really fun to talk about first, kind of the home office take two. A lot of us, quickly set up a home office to get things up and running. And here we are a couple months into everything. Now maybe a good time to go back and say, is it really great that I have my office set up in the corner of the room where I stare at nothing but a wall all day? So that's one thing. And then Giusi is always on the forefront of design, which I'm really excited about. So we're going to talk a little bit about, what's on the design horizons, what's going on. And then finally, which I think we're both most excited about, we talked about in the pre-call, was what is the future of office space going to look like? Are we all going to have, a circle of 6 feet of tape around us, or how is that going to work? So I'm pretty excited about it. So Giusi, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself first before we jump in to talk about the home office redo.
Hi, everybody. This is Giusi Mastro from Ora Studio. I'm Italian. If somebody
really?
didn't understand from the accent, but I live in New York for a long time. And I am an architect also. And I came to New York because I fell in love with New York, and I didn't plan to stay, but work grow very fast and beautifully, and so I decided to stay. When I was in Italy, I worked mostly on commercial space and industrial design. But when I came to New York, I started as a designing restaurants, and then later I started in residential, and that became a big part of my work. Lately, I start to combine a little bit of all different service, and we go back in also commercial design. This is going to your question, Martin. People
Yes.
ask client and friend, and they say how I can figure it out to have a decent work area in my home, and
Right.
what can I do to make it feel like I am productive when I'm working? Because a lot of people working from home, they find that difficult to focus because they go in the kitchen, they grab something, they constantly distracted from. So what I suggest.
So Giusi, let me ask you first. How much space do you really need for a home office? Do you need a 10 by 10 room? Do you need a 4 by 4 corner in a room?
This is an interesting question. It depends also what type of work is yours. Me as an architect, the 4 by 4 is not sufficient. And in fact, thank God, I have an office in the same building where I live. So I go just downstairs, 12th story, and I'm in my office. No, if you are a tech guy, a tiny little desk with a computer is enough. But if you are a creative person or an artist or fashion designer, you need a space. You need a table for the computer, table to do drawing, table, or a lot of artists end up working on the floor, and I did that also myself in the past. So
right.
it depends what is your profession, but let's say where you physically do the work, you can also put a piece of paper in any surface and paint, but the area where is your computer, where you connect with people, where you do Zoom call or chatting and things, that is the area where you sit in the moment that you focus on writing something, or sending important message to your client, or communicating with your client. So that specific area there need to be done in a way that is encouraging to go and sit there. And also aesthetically, it's decent to look at because it is in your place. So how you can make that area more interesting? It depends. If your home office, your work environment is home and is like in the bedroom or in the basement, someplace weird place, you know. So you make sure that two things. One, if you have to for your personal use, that place looks pleasing. So you make it more
right.
Look a
So
little
just I'm
officey.
going to interrupt Giusi for a minute.
Yeah.
So basically and there's kind of two different points here, right? The first point is you want to make the place enjoyable for yourself.
Yes.
Number one. Number two, as you are on video conferencing, and I had to move into a room closer to my secondary internet here, so I have an ugly background. But number two, when you're talking to people, you want to have a really good background as well.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
if things are difficult, you can do a virtual background that our colleague Giselle is doing right now. But also, I think that's great as well to show that you are doing something. So kind of going back into a room pleasing for yourself, what, you know, do you want to have a desk looking out a window if that's possible, or what exactly do you do?
That would be the ideal. If you have a
Okay.
window, if you can have the computer in front of the window, so when you have a Zoom call, you have a natural light on your face.
Okay.
And that would be the best. But sometimes it's not possible, or you don't have a window at all. So the best things is to find a strong light, possibly LED, that you place behind your computer, tall enough that can shoot on your face. So basically, any other light source from the side, from the top, or any other direction, basically cut off any shadow or any other contrast. And so you don't look dark face and with the halo all around, you know, or
right.
Some weird color. For instance, outside my window, there are a lot of trees blooming now. So if I put the shade out, the green light comes in. So everybody looks green. So I have to keep the shade down if I do a Zoom call. That is a good suggestion, but also not only the light is very, very important to try. What the person that you have in the meeting you can see in your background, because sometimes
okay, yeah. So talking about Zoom calls.
if you see the bed that is not done, a kid's toy or whatever, sometimes even objects that they look pretty in real life, but they don't look good in the background. So you move it out, you create a space. Empty is better. Less is better in this case. But if the person see something in your background, you can have some flowers, some plants, something natural. It's help the person is seeing you and in helping you, because bringing some little nature in a closed environment is always very healthy for many reasons. You know, it's known that since the computer came out, they always suggest to have like a succulent plant next to computer, so it can absorb radiation and
interesting. So succulent plant.
So
and it's funny. So yeah, so Sean Wilson on our team, you know, with styling and staging, he always loves having green plants in the background.
It's very important. It's healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a question that came in. You know, if someone now, you know, again, everybody quote unquote did home office version 1, seeing what worked or didn't work. Do you have some suggestions on where to get some really cool home office furniture at a decent price? And then what's your opinion on things like a chair that changes height or a standing desk, or what's your take on that with I mean, like what are the 3 or 4 essential home office pieces of furniture that you would recommend?
Three depends on your personality, because
Okay.
your desk area, it's really personal, because it's home. You don't need to be an office desk. It could be a comfortable table, a small table, and there are a lot of company, also a very affordable company, that they create already a long time home, let's say, working station for private space. And that are, the various West Elm, Bow Comset, CB2, Greater Barrel, to tell you the most common, even
Okay.
IKEA. So,
So CB2, Crate and Barrel, Bow
Bow
Concept,
Comset,
right, which is a little bit more
yeah,
mid-range.
really,
IKEA,
because
of
it's
course, will
already a
have some stuff.
beautiful higher level desk. Let's say depends on if you stay in that home office for a limited period of time, you don't want to invest too much money. If you have to get rid of that soon later, so you find something, you go to IKEA and you pick something. But if instead you think that you may enjoy that working station, that area in your home, even after you go back to the office, which is also very good to have a little tiny working area home, because it gives you the sense of freedom, that if you want, you can go there and send some email, and you don't have to stay like this on the laptop in bed or things, because it's
Right.
good for the
You
posture.
have a special area.
Yeah,
So,
you
and
have like,
also,
you feel a little treatment for yourself, if
right.
you
No,
have
I
the
think
room.
that's great to have the right space. Now let's say, and this is New York City, so we all have small spaces. What happens if you don't have a separate room? What happens if you have to do the home office in your bedroom or a corner in the living room? Do you have one or two suggestions on that?
uh, uh, many companies that produce beautiful furniture, and I know mostly the Italian one, the various
What a surprise.
the various Polyform, Bofi, Minotti, and
Uh-huh.
etc. etc. They in their line of furniture, they have also small desk area. Sometimes they can be floating from the wall, sometimes attached to a small bookshelf. And for instance, at Bow Concept, no long time ago, I saw this very cute element, which was small, tiny 24 by 18 shelf that is hanging on the wall, and you flip down and you put your laptop and you stay standing. It's like
Wow.
a very cute element that when you don't use in your closet, and it depends how much time you have to spend on that computer. If you have to work long hour, that is not okay. But if you have to just enter a few things, so uh, just a short period of time, the fact to be standing also is good. And that this is why now there is also the trend of having in some office the treadmill desk. The desk that fall up and you have the treadmill. This is
That's really
another
funny.
concept. Did you see that one?
No, I haven't. So I
So,
just want to move on because we're already at one halfway through. So tell me a little bit about design trends in general that's happening right now. What are you seeing? For example, my understanding is chrome is out and bronze is in.
yeah, it's already going out, bro. It goes so
That's
fast,
why I
the
wanted
trend
you.
goes so fast. No, let's say chrome, yeah, chrome a little bit, but the brush chrome is not out, or
Okay.
brush stainless steel is not. It's always in, and brass and copper, they becoming much more in, and with the fact that copper also is good, that doesn't retain any germs or virus and
Yeah,
things.
the
So copper suddenly
antibacterial.
now is starting
Right,
to
with
have
copper.
imagine, there is this beautiful building on the East River. It's called the Copper, American Copper Building. It's all copper, so the entire building
Wow.
is antivirus. Imagine. I want to tell
That's
them. Did you
That's
see the
great.
building? They have this like a K shape, like in the letter K. It's a very nice building.
Yeah, no, I've seen that. So, and what other designs are happening? What other trends are you seeing right now? Like, are there special colors that are coming around,
In
or
addition, oh, sorry.
go ahead.
In addition to color, that is a trend that changes basically every year, you know, because interior, interior architecture design and fashion, they always work hand to hand. But lately even more, maybe too much. And in fact, in Italy, they were discussing if they should move the Salone del Mobile, which is the Italian furniture fair, very popular for people that are in the field. Maybe they should do a biennial and not every year. Because we are skipping 2020 and it's going to be in 2021. So people that were considering maybe we should do a biennial. And
Right.
in regards of furniture and trend, it would be much better if company focus on creating a line that have to be not only follow on the fashion or you know, creating the trend, because it become like a running to
So
create
what is
always.
your suggestion then? So it sounds like you're saying, let's avoid the trends per se, which I would still like to know what colors are the trends right now, and then how do you, marry that with what you like and taste and all that sort of thing. So what is your suggestion in that arena?
So the trend of pale color is still around. So
Okay,
uh,
so pale
it,
colors,
yeah,
got
pale
it.
color, blush color. This is still, and and is a lot also in the interior architecture. What is happening? More people start to use pattern on the walls, and material like wallpaper, or not only wallpaper, but material that are applied to the wall and create patterns. There are a lot of
Okay,
geometric patterns out there, and this is very interesting because the main overall trend is that everything is becoming a little more contemporary. When I arrived here in New York 25 years ago, I always imagine America very, very modern. You know, you have Frank Lloyd
right.
Wright. You know, it's
Uh-huh.
and then I find when I start to work in residential that the taste was very, very traditional, and with a lot of rose and flower and chintz. I was very surprised, you know. But with time, a younger generation of architect designer, I think they educated their parents, their friends, so this trend of becoming more modern and contemporary, at least in the interior, is becoming wider, bigger. And you can see that even in the Hampton, that it was untouchable. In the Hampton, you could never find or build anything modern. And now there are a lot of younger couple that, or young people that are building beautiful, very, very modern homes. So
Oh, interesting.
that
Interesting.
is a big trend that make me
So I,
happy.
right. So I have a question that's come in, and this is a really great question. So everybody, I think the general concept of buying a few quality pieces versus buying many inexpensive pieces is always a good idea, right? Because you can carry it with you or take it with you. It could be a lifelong thing. Um, but let's say you don't have the money to buy brand new quality piece. Do you have some suggestions for buying quality secondhand furniture? How is the site like AppDeco, or or do you go to like Doyle's auction house, or where can you find quality furniture on the cheap, so to speak?
um, buying quality furniture is always a good idea, but all depends how is your life right now. Because if you are living in a place for just few years and you don't even know what you're going to do 2 years from now. So, so mainly in New York, in a place, in a city like New York, you don't want to have too many furniture. Doesn't matter the value. Too many things to carry around, because even to get rid of the cheap furniture you have to pay, because you have to pay somebody to move it out and toss it, throw it away. So you have to be very careful what is your belonging is, you know. Living in a small place in a big city and not knowing exactly where you're going, is better to have the essential with you.
Okay,
And
so the first piece of advice is, you know, maybe hold off if you have a small place or you're not going to be there that long, hold off buying anything quote unquote of super value because you don't know what's going to happen. And that's I can totally see that, right? Now
I
let's say you moved into a second place or a third place, you plan to be there for 5 years or longer. Do you have any secret places to go find quality used furniture?
There are, first of all, you need to know what is the used furniture, because sometimes you buy something used that you think you're saving money, and then you find the same things with a discount in a showroom that is selling brand new. And
Okay.
and we have this personally this experience, you know. But my husband bought a little coffee table, and then when he tried to when he sell it, he sold it basically more than on what is sold it, that website where you sell stuff.
App
Uh,
Deco,
no, oh my God.
Craigslist.
Yes, Craigslist. So he sold it for basically the same price or maybe more. So it was a surprise. Oh my God. So that is really personal knowledge. So the person that is buying is good to get educated with what is a good piece of design. For instance, you can see that chair in this background, this one.
Right.
It's a nice piece of design, designed from Arne Jacobsen, and in the 30s. And that we find it in a shop, an antique shop in Hudson, on the Hudson Valley.
Okay.
Years ago, when my husband and I were dating, and he want to have some nice fancy chair. So we find this chair, and now we have something that he love, he value, because it's a piece of design. So I always suggest to buy something that is you have a signature, that you have a good design, because it's not going to go out of fashion. That is
Understood.
so
All
you have
right.
at least one piece that is valuable, and that one for sure you're going to carry with you, unless you.
Very good. I want to keep moving on, where the time always goes a little fast, and it's just great hearing all these things. So quickly, then I want to talk about office of the future. So what style trend do you wish never happened?
What style you wish never happened? Is the
Yeah,
question?
yeah, for you. What style trend do you wish never happened?
In the office environment?
In any environment.
Okay. Okay, there is a lot of discussion, and I don't know if you refer to that, about the open space environment. Uh,
Aha,
it's,
the open concept
okay.
living.
So in Italian, I would say dolenti note, which means, oh, I don't know how to translate that in English. You know, painful notes, you know. Um, the open space environment actually was developed very nicely after, it became very trendy after the 90s, after the dot-com boom, where people needed more room in a space,
Right.
more people. And it grew and it became nicer and nicer. So you can see some more office environment, very beautiful, very beautifully designed, with lounge, kitchenette, sometimes a playing area, bar. There are amazing solutions out there. But what's happened is a lot of company they like company like WeWork, for instance, or what's the name the other company, I don't remember right now,
The Yard or something.
the Yard and
Uh-huh.
etc. They rent some space that's very tiny, and you are in a tiny space and it's expensive, but then you can use the common area. So this company, they need to revise that concept because people cannot stay so close to each other. So they have to
Understood.
completely.
Okay, so that's actually a good segue, Giusi. Sorry for cutting you off. I just want to be conscious of the time. So let's talk a little bit about what is the office of the future going to be with this whole COVID thing? What do you envision, or what do you think the future is going to be like?
I think the concept of open space is not going to die, at least not soon. It's going to be reorganized. Also because companies that produce furniture, office furniture and systems already have in place a system to separate the desk. And Frank Lloyd Wright was the first one to create this concept, and he created, and it was not crowded all together. It was actually
So he's
so
responsible for
still.
the cubicle, Frank Lloyd Wright.
No,
Uh,
actually, he eliminated all the cubicle possible.
I'm giving you a hard time. It was, I'm sure it was the SC
But
Johnson Wax
then,
building, I believe. But anyhow, go ahead.
but then, when I came in New York 25 years ago, this is what I
Uh-huh.
saw: cubicle, but not cubicle designed from Knoll International or Irma Miller, things that are luxury, beautiful
Right.
cubicle with high technology, performance desk and chair. No, a cubicle created from sheetrock. So, and
Uh-huh.
people stay in this tiny 3x4 room with no window, no hair, nothing. It was very scary. Why? Because they have to chop it out the space. So, in the beginning, I was a battle with potential client that they won't divide the space in that way. This is why I kind of went away a little bit from that business that moment, because they couldn't accept the fact that you can have a partition that are not in sheetrock. They can be
So
other material.
what future trends do you see happening, Juicy, post
So
COVID?
I I think slowly this concept of how we think office environment and working together that we used to so far is going to change completely, because right now a lot of people start to work from home or remotely, whatever place they like, they're convenient for them, and they realize that almost 30% of people, 30% of business can really use that type of collaboration, the working remote. So less
Okay.
people need to go to an office. Because less people need to go to an office, the office per se could be organized in a way that not everybody's crammed together. Problem
So
is,
basically more, you're saying more collaborative spaces that people can work from home a few days a week, and then you envision people coming together kind of around a big conference table,
but
or
not
collaborative workspace.
is a double sword, in the
Right.
sense that right now we are conscious about, the virus. So we know we
Right.
have to keep distance. We cannot touch the elevator button. We cannot touch the coffee mug. There are a lot of things. You have to change the way we move around the office, the way, and the company need to give all this policy, and people have to follow. They have to create preferred a route to go from one place to another one. People cannot sit on the same couch, one on top of each other, but they have to stay to a certain distance. When people get used to pay attention to these things, it's going to be more easy. But now it's pretty traumatic. But this
Yeah.
is
So actually, Juicy, it's already 1:30, if you can believe it.
woo, 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 woo.
So yeah. So do you have a closing statement or so, or something you'd like to say to leave our viewers with?
In regards of the office environment, I hope that this virus, not only this virus go, because this virus go and then something else can come out. So
Right.
I hope that our planet it's in a better condition, because keeping distance is not good only for the virus. It's good for any type of bacteria or things. So I just hope that we don't have to reach that point where the office become like a train station with a cubicle in glass where you enter in with the buttons, you do your things, and you see the other person behind the glass, and then you don't, you never touch anybody, you never go close to anybody. And this can happen not because of the virus, it could happen because the air is too polluted or the water is polluted. It's just, it's more a bigger range of situation. So right now, as a because we experience this virus, we are conscious and we learn a lesson. Next generation, they're going to forget
We're going to
about
have to
this.
leave it with that then. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Giusi. Thank you so much for sharing
Thank you, thank you,
insights
thank you.
on how to redo the home office. Thank you for sharing some insights and hopefully possibly saving some money out there with some people wanting to buy, you know, a statement piece of furniture. Maybe hold off until you have the right space to have it, which I think is really helpful. And then I really like the idea of kind of the office space of what it's going to be looking like, and the idea of using it more for collaborative work and then people going back to their own spaces. So
And
Giusi Mastro, go ahead.
I encourage anybody, even if you have a very small budget, to have a consultation with a designer, because the things you learn is huge. So maybe stay just to that consultation. Maybe that person don't necessarily have to do a big project for you, but the fact that you consult with an expert, you can learn so much, and it can put you on the right track to make the right decision, and you can save a lot of money. So
That's a
I
great.
always encourage to do that. It's like in your field, you know, it's somebody want to buy a house, and it's better to come to you instead of start to go around like a mad and waste time, you know, and maybe find the wrong things. So
I have to leave it at that, Giusi. Thank you so much. I
thank
appreciate it,
you.
everybody.
Ciao.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Take
Bye.
care.
Bye. Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Uh,